Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us this afternoon on the webinar about the Research Master in Cognitive and Clinical Neuroscience with a specialization in Cognitive Neuroscience. My name is Isabel Grosch. I work at Maastricht University at the Faculty of Psychology and Neuroscience, and I look forward to host you this afternoon. Today we will look at the program, we will talk about the student perspective, the program content, the courses that you will follow. We will talk about career perspectives, and what's most important, we will take time to answer your questions. The rules are pretty simple. Basically, you can just type in the questions in the comment section below here, and we will answer them during the live webinar. So take a chance and ask the questions that you would like to be answered. As you can see, I'm not alone here this afternoon. I've asked the experts of the program to join me. There's Giancarlo Valente and Akin, and I would like to give the word to you first to introduce yourself, Giancarlo.
Okay, thank you, Isabel. Hi everyone, my name is Giancarlo Valente. I'm an assistant professor here at the Faculty of Psychology and Neuroscience in the Department of Cognitive Neuroscience, and I'm the coordinator of the Research Master specialization in Cognitive Neuroscience. And I'm very happy to be here and to talk with you about our Research Master.
Thank you. Hi everyone, my name is Akin. I'm a first year Research Master student in Cognitive Neuroscience. I just moved here in Maastricht from Turkey, where I did my bachelor's in psychology there. And I'm also very excited to be here and be answering your questions today.
Thanks a lot, happy to have you here. As I already mentioned, the Research Master in Cognitive Neuroscience is one specialization of the overall program in Cognitive and Clinical Neuroscience. Giancarlo, you were involved in the setup of this specialization. Can you tell us a bit more about the overall idea of it?
Yes, as the name says, we are studying Cognitive Neuroscience in this specialization. And why did we decide to have a Research Master in that? Well, we realized that there was a gap in the preparation of students that wanted to perform at an academic level in the field of cognitive neuroscience. And we decided to create this program in order to provide a better preparation, both in terms of theoretical knowledge and also practical knowledge. And this is because this Research Master is embedded in a very successful department that performs research with high-field neuroimaging and is quite successful worldwide. And we would like to transfer, let's say, our knowledge, our experience to the new generations. And that's why we decided to have a very nice program. We will discuss later more in depth about what we offer. And this has been going on for quite some years, and is quite a successful program also in terms of evaluations.
Mm-hmm. You already mentioned a bit that we will look more in depth into the program and the content of it. Maybe you can elaborate more about the courses that students can expect. Which course do you cover, and what's the content of it?
Yes, thank you. So just to put briefly, what do we do in cognitive neuroscience? We study the neural mechanisms that underlie the functioning of our brain in everyday life. So cognition, perception, behavior. And to do that, we decided to shape our program with three big pillars. The first pillar consists of theoretical courses which investigate the neural underpinnings behind all the aspects of, as I was saying before, cognition, perception, and behavior. So including vision and attention, memory, learning, audition, language, sensory motor processing. And all of these courses are given by experts in the field using the problem-based learning approach. So for those of you that have not studied in Maastricht, we have a special way of teaching, which is called problem-based learning, which involves a mixture of lectures, but also small-scale tutor meetings in which the students work together in order to solve some questions. So they discuss together possible solutions to problems given them by a tutor, and then they study at home and come back with possible solutions after studying the material. And we believe in the whole Maastricht University, and also especially in our Research Master, that this is a great way both of learning and preparing for what's next, because our students learn also how to express their ideas, how to fine-tune their concepts in a very collaborative environment. So also this small-scale scenario in a way mirrors the work they will be doing in the future when in academic or different settings they will have to cooperate with other people towards a goal. This is the first pillar. Then the second pillar consists of courses on methodologies, on techniques by means of which you can investigate in vivo brain function and test the theories and perform empirical research. And these techniques include functional magnetic resonance imaging, for which Maastricht University is well worldwide known, but also MEG and EEG, or functional near-infrared spectroscopy, or non-invasive brain stimulation. All of these techniques are taught again with a PBL setup, but they're paired also with practical courses. In these practical courses, the students get to perform hands-on research from the beginning. So this is quite special in the sense that we have students designing their own experiment, coming up with their own experimental protocols, performing the measurement with fMRI, as you're doing right now during the courses, performing data analysis, performing inference, drawing conclusions. And this is all which is usually needed to do later on for your internship or research in general. And we give lots of training already during the courses. So every method course is paired with a practical. The last pillar, which is more about skills and in general research skills, involves learning statistics, but also presentation skills, academic writing. And then something specifically tailored for our track, which is more some mathematical background, some programming. We have 2 courses in programming with MATLAB, and then also signal analysis. All these 3 things, all these, let's say, 3 pillars put together provide what we think is a good educational offer to create, let's say, new generations of cognitive neuroscientists.
Thanks a lot for this elaborate outlook on the program and what it's all about. You already referred to the students and their experience while studying here, and I think that's a good bridge to give the word to you, Akin.
Yeah.
You are one of the current students. You started this program this year in September. Maybe you can tell us a bit more about how you found this program and why you found it interesting.
Well, I knew about the university while I was looking for an exchange when I was doing my bachelor's. My professors told me that, oh, this school is really good with its neuroscience research, and I was interested in neuroscience back then. So I had Maastricht in my mind. And then while I was looking for the programs last year, searching, I was pretty much impressed by the richness of the content of the whole program, as Giancarlo also told about it. So yeah, that's how I've ended up here somehow, and I really liked it so far. Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah, it's going really well.
You can also see it in your
Yeah.
face. You're happy about it.
Yeah.
You mentioned you just started in September. Yeah. Do you already have some favorite courses or a favorite course that you like best?
Yeah, I mean, I've taken 4 courses so far. I liked all of them for sure, but there's one that has a special place in my heart. It's perception and attention course. I think it was really fun to do and interesting to do because it was a bit of challenge for us to focus on the graphs while reading articles, which normally in bachelor's most people don't do. We just read the text and go through it, and that's all. But there I got to learn how to read graphs, how to approach articles in a different way. So yeah, that's why.
And you can apply that knowledge in the course of the program.
Yeah, it already started.
Well.
Yeah, it's all. Yeah, like the way I read the articles, I think it changed already. Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Well, those students who are interested, they might also wonder how to actually get there, how to apply, and which requirements the program asks in order to be admitted. Maybe you can tell about your experience. Which steps did you take to apply for this program?
Well, because deadlines are important, I think the first thing I did to take the English proficiency exam from the beginning to have it in my hand. And then I asked my professors for reference letters for which I uploaded the online platform of the university. I think that's also important. Everything is going online. I also wrote my statement of purposes, which was a bit hard, but fun again to do. And then after, on the online platform, they keep reminding which documents are lacking, which was really good to know the time management, how to do it. And then after the application was done, we had an interview, which was nice, very nice atmosphere. And then after the interview, we had a tiny writing assignment to complete. yeah, and that was it.
And then you were admitted.
Yeah.
You referred to an interview. Since you mentioned that you're also from Turkey,
Yeah.
did you need to come to Maastricht University, or did the interview take place online?
No, it was online. It was on Skype, but I think there's a limit for the distance of the country.
200 kilometers.
Yeah. So those who are further than 200 kilometers, they will be interviewed on Skype.
Yeah.
All right. I guess for the students who are interested in the application, it's good to check our program website again, where it says admission and application. Just take a look at it, and you will find an elaborate explanation and steps that you can follow to apply yourself for this program. We also have Giancarlo with us, who's also involved in the selection. You look at the students who apply. What's your experience with it, and can you share a bit on that?
Sure, it's a very nice procedure. So we receive lots of applications from excellent candidates, and then the difficult part is actually doing a selection, because then you have to make choices. And so this is a selective master program. It means that we have a limited amount of places, and therefore we have to select only a limited amount of students. And during this selection process, we look at many aspects. So, just in case you were wondering, your GPA or grades are an important factor in general, but they are not fundamental, in the sense that we don't only look at grades. So, as you may have noticed, once if you have already gone to the material, we don't have a hard threshold on GPA. So, this is not for us the most important thing. So, the most important thing is to have people that have passion, motivation, and potential. So, we try to understand from the candidate profile, as from the material we receive, but also from the interview, whether the candidate would be a good match for the program, and also importantly, if the program is a good match with the candidate's skills, also aspirations and potential. So we try to select people that we think will be successful in our program and that will like it. So of course, I don't want to tell a lie. So this is a master's program, it's a research master, so it can be hard in the sense that there's lots to do. Therefore, we really like to have people that are motivated. So if you're motivated, you don't leave this as a burden. But if it's your passion, this is just fun. So it's we would like to have people that have pleasure in learning the things we teach. Regarding the submissions, there are two deadlines, as you may have seen on the website. And the first deadline is the 15th of January 2019, and this is mainly for candidates from outside the EU that are applying for a high potential scholarship, for which the deadlines are slightly different. Whereas on the 1st of April 2019, we have the let's say the second deadline for the application. So make sure if you want to apply, also the reference letters and all the material has been uploaded. As Ekin was saying, we send several reminders. And one thing that I would like to stress here is that don't select yourself out of the program if you think let's say there are technical courses or there is lots of emphasis of very complicated things like functional magnetic resonance imaging. So we don't care already that you know these things very well. We really want to have people that are eager to learn these things, eager to apply them. We want people that have passion for doing these things. So don't do the selection yourself. Let us know if you're interested, send your application, and then we will go through it and then let you know.
Thanks a lot. There was a motivating talk for interested students to, take the chance and apply for it. Another thing that the program looks into is giving students the opportunity to apply their knowledge that they've gained in a more practical setting, or also in a research setting. In the second year, students have the opportunity to do an internship. I think they actually have to do an internship. Yes. Can you tell a bit more about it, Giancarlo?
Yes, sure. So the internship takes place, as you were saying, in the second year from period 2, which is beginning of November until June. So this is a very long time, and our students can do it either in Maastricht, in our group. There are excellent possibilities with the research groups, or can decide to do it abroad. We have links with usually the best centers all over the world. And it's quite a difficult task to summarize all the internships that I've seen through the years. So we have had excellent works, and many of these works have been then made into publications, so into peer-reviewed journals. So I'm just saying that the quality of our internships is definitely high. So maybe let me try just on top of my head to mention a few. So we had, for instance, a few years ago, one of our research master students that went to Minneapolis to scan at high resolution to unveil, among the first ones in the world, columnar organization in the visual cortex using fMRI. We had people working on diffusion tensor imaging and fine-tuning techniques for that. But we also have people working, for instance, on the brain-computer interface and helping by using functional magnetic resonance imaging or near-infrared spectroscopy logged-in patients. So developing techniques that make this approach feasible and quick and comfortable also for the patients. So we had many more things. Also in terms of content, we had very interesting theses. For instance, on the use of polyphonic music with multiple instruments as a proxy for auditory stream segregation. So we had a project many years ago that was conducted between here and McGill University in Canada, in Toronto, in Montreal, sorry. And then this project was also financed later on into a bigger project involving high-resolution scanning by a PhD student in our department. So you see, it's very diverse. We go from high-field imaging to very diverse applications. So it's very it's really fun also to have a look at all the work that our students did. And every year, once I go through all their theses, it's always a surprise to see how good these theses are and what a great job they have done.
Mm-hmm. When doing an internship, that's also an opportunity to explore career opportunities, path that students and graduates can take after finishing this program. Maybe you can summarize a few functions that the graduates of Cognitive Neuroscience took.
Sure. So as we were saying before, our master gives an optimal preparation for the academic trajectory. So if you're interested in pursuing maybe an academic career, or at least to obtain also a PhD after your research master, then our specialization would be a good choice, in the sense that we really care that our students are self-sufficient and are well prepared for what comes next. So in this respect, most of our students have really no problems in finding a PhD position if they're interested in after they complete their internship. And this is because also our center is quite famous, and we have always had very good students in the past. So, and in that respect, academic career is a natural natural step following the research master, but that doesn't mean that's the only step. So our students get to work with very complex data, get to work with very difficult and sometimes not clearly defined problems, and they also develop data analysis skills, they develop presentation skills, they know how to handle complex projects. So these are all things that can be used also outside of pure academic settings. Just to name a few of our alumni that decided to make a switch from academia to outside. So we had, for instance, project managers in biomedical companies. We have members of funding agencies. We also have senior data scientists in quite famous web-based companies that I'm not naming, not to advertise. And so we have a very diverse background from in terms of career perspectives.
Thanks a lot for talking us through these career perspectives. After talking about the program in general and students taking it, I would like to give the word to you again to talk a bit about your own life. How does the day in the life of a CN student looks like?
Yeah.
More about it.
Yeah, honestly, the workload is high, for sure. But as we talked about it also, if you're motivated enough, it's not... I mean, I have a lot of fun studying on the material that I have, which is taking most of my time during the week. During the weekends, I also I made amazing friends here because we have this international atmosphere going on, so it's really easy to make friends. So during the weekends, we go out, we go to the lectures that are organized by the university, and I also, in my free time, I try to exercise, but it's mostly reading and studying. Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Actually, one of our prospective students is asking a question. I guess it's more a question for Giancarlo to answer. And it looks or it asks about the modularity of minds. Which approach do you take about the modularity our mind has? Is it more of an independent approach? And maybe you can elaborate a bit more on that.
So maybe could you tell me again the question? Sorry.
Yeah. What the student asks is, what is your view on modularity in this program? And then she specializes. The idea of modularity of mind is that the mind is composed of independent, closed and domain-specific processes, or is it more of a flexible approach?
So we try to integrate both in the sense that we kind of follow the path of starting bottom up. So we start with very much theoretical courses on separate aspects. So for instance, vision, audition, and we in the beginning look at those things more as separate research fields, but then later on in the program we try to put many things together. So there are more courses on translational approaches or more applied courses and courses on cognition in which we try to bridge this gap. So in a way we don't have a precise stand out between the two options, but we try to give more or less of an overview of both approaches.
Okay, thanks a lot. I hope, Alana, that answers is answering the question in a way that you were expecting it, and otherwise just let us know. We had some more questions prepared to you, so I would like to continue with these ones. The next one is about any misconceptions that you might have about the program. Maybe it's a good question for Ekin to answer. Were there any things that you were wondering about at the beginning that you came across when studying here that were different?
Well, I think for most people, the biggest question is that is whether their background will be sufficient enough for a master's degree. For sure, that was even my question, even though I did psychology, but people from even further fields want to apply for this. But I think that was a complete misconception for me, because we are offered all these courses to fill those gaps. Of course, at the end, it depends on our self-study, but which is also encouraged by the system PBL anyways. So yeah, I think they shouldn't be worried about it if they have the motivation to pursue the program, I would say.
So what I understand from your answers also that the student population that you find in class is actually quite diverse. They might come from different backgrounds, not only psychology, what you studied, but also maybe an engineering background or a more data scientist background, which is, I can imagine, also an enriching factor in the course discussion.
Yeah, the nature of the program, the field also allows for it, and also encourages it again, because it's an interdisciplinary field in itself, so it's even more enjoyable to discuss with people from different fields, of course.
That makes sense.
Yeah. To add something maybe to what Ekin was already saying, so everyone starts from a different background. At the end of the 2 years, we get cognitive neuroscientists, which are which have skills in different fields. So it doesn't matter if you come from psychology, from engineer, from physics. We even had people coming from philosophy. What we really care is that in the end, if you're willing, if you're curious, if you're willing to challenge yourself, this program will bring you to the level at which you have to be if you want to perform research in this field.
Thanks a lot. We're almost at the end of this webinar. I would like to ask one more question that we often get from prospective students when talking to them during open days or via email. And what prospective students often wonder is the difference between two programs that we offer here at Maastricht University. We do have a one-year master in Cognitive Neuroscience, but there's also the 2-year research master that actually Ekin is following at the moment. Maybe you can talk a bit more about the difference of those two and eventually also similarities.
Yes, absolutely. So, thank you. That's a good question. I'm also coordinating the one-year master. So, the choice between the two programs is a bit related to what you want to do afterwards. So, in both programs, we do cover the theoretical aspects that underlie cognitive neuroscience. But of course, the research master is 2 years, which means there are many more courses which are added, which we believe provide an optimal preparation for performing research in academic settings. which means that if your goal is to pursue an academic career, so to go for a PhD and then continue doing research, and if you have the possibility and means to study for 2 years, then maybe a research master would be a good option. On the other hand, also we had excellent students that followed the 1-year master and then streamed again into an academic career. So I'm not saying that the 1-year master precludes that, just that it's a shorter program, and some people prefer maybe to have a shorter program and then maybe fill in the gaps at a later stage. But in principle, we tend to encourage people that want to go for an academic career to do a research master, because then already when they start their PhD, they are more or less ready to start, which then increases their success in the future.
Mm-hmm. Thanks a lot. We received another question from an interested student, and it relates to the admission requirements. Johannes asked if, as a prospective student, you need a specific amount of credit points in a specific field, for example, statistics, in order to be admitted.
Yes, so there is, if I remember correctly, there is a limit on our website, but in principle, we discuss also individual cases if these requirements are not exactly met. So we have had in the past students that started with somehow a weaker background. Again, if motivation and passion is there, we tend to suggest also ways to catch up with statistics. So for instance, there are summer courses that could be taken just before starting the master. So in principle, we would like students to be at good level to start with statistics, but we will look at cases individually. So let's say if you are doubting whether your statistic level or the credits you can show are enough or not, we will suggest then to apply, and then maybe if we see that given all the other conditions this is not a problem, then we could talk about it and see whether maybe remedial courses just during the summer break, just before the course, could be enough to fill in this gap.
Mm-hmm. All right, so really an individual approach.
Yes, so we try to really carefully look at every applicant's background, so we don't just put hard thresholds. We try to avoid that.
All right,
yeah.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, I hope that answer was sufficient for Johannes. Otherwise, as we said, give it a try and apply for it. What I would like to mention is that we also offer you the opportunity to ask your question in the comments section. We are now at the end of this webinar and the information that we want to share with you, but you can ask your questions afterwards also in the comments, and we will stay online for a couple of minutes to answer them to you. Next to that, I also want to mention that Giancarlo and Aiken are happy to answer your questions as well. We will post the email address of Giancarlo and also the Facebook account of Aiken in the comments section below, so you can also approach them if you would like to. Then I thank you for joining us this afternoon. I hope we could inform you well about the Research Master in Cognitive Neuroscience. I also want to say thanks to Aiken and Giancarlo for taking the time, and who knows, eventually we will see each other in Maastricht again. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.